almost without exception, we belong to a country. We all identify with somewhere, as we're all linked to a nation. But in this talk, I'll show you that this sort of relationship between you and where you live can be mind-blowing. I was born in Doha, which is the capital city of Qatar. Then I moved to Uzbekistan, and I spent 4 years of my life living and growing up in Tashkent. Then, when I was 8, me and my family moved to Beijing, and I attended 2 different schools there. And only just recently, we've moved again to our current home and school in Shanghai. Now, as you can see, I've lived in a lot of different places around the world and spent most of my life traveling. But when it comes to watching the football or the cricket, I always seem to support one country, England. This can be kind of a sore point for my mother because she's Scottish. But my dad, he's English, but his grandfather's Scottish, hence my name originates from the Isle of Lewis. And yes, I even have my own family tartan. Confusing? Yes. Complicated? Yes. But interesting dynamics at home? Definitely. Now, I've never lived in the UK. I've only been there for the summer holidays. But all my family, including my parents, are British. This is what gives me this sense of unity and belonging. Now, of course, if any of these countries that I have special affiliations with, including Qatar, Uzbekistan, and China, are playing sports, then yes, I will always cheer for them. But would I wake up at 3 a.m. to watch them play a 90-minute game? No. When the Qatar 2022 World Cup came around, I was so happy as I had 3 of my affiliated countries to support: England, Scotland, and Qatar. Scotland and Qatar were sadly knocked out in the group stages, and that just left England for me to support. Now, all these games were being played really far away, and when they were broadcasted to us here, that left a time difference, and a big one. But despite this difficulty, me and my dad would wake up every night that England played, watch them play, and pray and cheer as they got all the way to the quarterfinals, but were sadly knocked out by France. This led me to think about how I can measure this true internal emotion towards a nation. Was there a formula, a diagnostic test, or maybe a scale that could highlight the degree of affiliation that I have with a country linking to my loyalty in a nation? Could I use percentages, an ATE scale? Or maybe it was just as simple as an adjective that could describe the type of loyalty that I had. If I had over 50% affiliation to a country, would that be the guide to when I would wake up at 3 a.m. to watch them play? In an educational environment, we can often obsess about numbers, facts, and figures linking to a scale. And this made me ponder about how I can measure this true feeling of internal emotion, of loyalty, pride, and passion towards a country. My dad lived and grew up in the same village for practically 20 years, whereas I've never had the same foundations as him. I've never lived in one place and immediately linked to that as home. And time again, it became more and more clear that this sort of relationship into a country is a primary necessity for one's emotional well-being. Sometimes when I'm alone or without companionship, that can sometimes seem as a direct comparison to this quandary of where is home. When you have an emotional association and link to a nation, this can be because of that nation's royalty, politicians, mascots, flags, national emblems, culture, flowers, costumes, and even climate. They can all provide space for this thought process of where is home. But when I have an emotional link to a country, I can sometimes face the predicament of when do my allegiances change? Would I change countries while others change football teams? Will I one day consider myself more Qatari than English, or more controversially Scottish than English? Have you ever wondered why on football kits the badges and emblems are placed where they are? It's because of the heart, and quite simply, that's the answer to this question. You follow your heart. It's an emotional trigger that you know just feels right. It may not make sense, it may not please everyone, and it may at times defy logic, but you know it just feels right. So the next time you have to make the decision of whether you're going to get out of bed, turn your alarm off set for 3 a.m., wipe the sleep out of your eyes, go downstairs, turn the TV on and watch your team play, or just to simply give up and snooze in the morning, make sure you support your team. So come on England, and Scotland, and Qatar, and Uzbekistan, and of course, come on China.